How you guys doing? We don't have much time, and this is the only time, so I'm gonna go for it. Growing up, my mother always told me, you are destined for greatness. The only person that can stop you is you. I took that to heart. In order to not stop myself, I knew that meant decisions. Earlier today in the weight room, Tank asked me, the strength coach, what do you think was the thing or the key that got you to where you were? There was only one thing that I thought about, and it was faith. It was faith. Growing up, my mom's a youth minister, and we grew up in the church. God wasn't just in our household, it was our household. Faith carried me through my entire life and my career. Whether I said it or not, whether I said God or not, you say God enough, they make you Tim Tebow. But whether I said God or not, that's what was always there. And so that faith always showed. In that, when I made the commitment to come to Illinois, we weren't very good, like at all. We weren't doing well at all. I remember coming out that year, I was the #1 high school recruit, and there were 6 or 7 other guys who were kind of uncharacteristically notable coming from the state of Illinois. And I think 5 out of 7 of us, they were all committed to the University of Iowa. And I remember going to a photo shoot for one of the high school magazines, and they were like, yo man, Illinois is trash, what are you doing? Why are you committed there? And for me, I was really never getting recruited. I grew up in the state of Illinois, suburbs of Chicago. And just one image from when I was younger, seeing that orange end zone with those white Illinois letters, and it said Illinois. Being a kid from Illinois, I knew that was home. So when I was getting recruited in high school, I was never really getting recruited. It wasn't a choice. I knew I was coming here, but I didn't want to blow the surprise because of how well I was doing. I was getting recruited from everywhere. I used to walk into my high school coaches, Mark Yagalski's office, just to see the letters from USC and Georgia and Miami and all these crazy places. I knew I was coming here. I knew I was home, and I was rightful for it. We were right. In that faith, our head coach, Ronzo, came in with the message, the idea was believe. And to that point, as a team, I believe 2 seasons before I got there, we were 1-11. The year after that was 3-8. My freshman year, first game we played Rutgers, and that famous moment where, for the game, E.B. Halsey is diving over one of our players and one of their players to reach to the end zone. And he scored. It was like fate. Then I knew I was in the right place. We were 1-0 and got beat dead for the rest of the season. Finished that year 2-9. The year after, we were 2-10. And people asking questions, it was crunch time. We had to do something. We believed. A man who had a lot to do with this room, Kevin Mitchell, one of our team captains, dope safety, and one of my best friends on the team. Him, like so many others, Martin O'Donnell, Ryan McDonald, the offensive lineman, John Asamoah, Akim Millington, Xavier Fulton, and a lot of those fifth-year seniors, they've seen a lot, they've been through a lot at Illinois, and it was a mix of those vets, 5-year seniors and some young guns, Vontae, Regis Ben, Juice Williams, that kind of mixture of that skill, of a little swagger, that bravado, and some of those tough times and experience that our previous teammates had been through. You put that together and it cooked up a pot, which was a recipe for good. Some would even say great. the culture here changed. I also had a lot to do with that. I hate losing. I didn't know that until I got older, but I thought about a moment in high school when I ran track. And we had this like makeshift 4x1 team. I was a sprinter, I was our anchor. And some guys were hurt, so we put a team together. And I remember watching our team come down the track and just thinking like, damn, I don't think we're supposed to be like moving like this. We were just getting further and further behind. And I remember on that last curve, seeing that like third anchor come in, that third leg. And I'm standing there like waiting for the baton, waiting. And this person got it and win. And another person got it and win. And I saw them down the track and I'm like, I guess we lost. But as soon as I got that baton, I said, nah, somehow we won. These guys were halfway down the track and I crossed the line first. Still don't know how that was done, but I have faith. In high school, my coaches challenged me. I wasn't alone. My head coach was in the building in high school, Mark Ugowski. I remember a time after a game, we were watching film in a film session, and there was a play where we were losing in that game, and there was a young man, he caught an interception in front of me and took off, and I was just so upset because it was like a bogus pass by the quarterback. I was so upset. It's like, what are you throwing that to? Dude's halfway out. I just watched them score. I'm like, they got us. In the film room, Coach Ego, we called him, Ugowski, put that play on the film and just played it. Paused it, rewind it, played it again. Didn't say a word. Paused it, rewind it, played it again. He stepped back, looked at the TV, and just jumped up and punched the TV as hard as he could, like the big, like big old TVs back in the day, punched it. I'm like, man, that had to hurt. And he just went off. He was like, what do you call this? You call that effort? You're supposed to be a D1 prospect? These guys on this team look up to you and you're supposed to be the best, and you see that guy with the ball and you don't chase him? That's horse bleep. Rashard, I better never see that again. There's a play in the NFL where we're playing the Kansas City Chiefs on the 10-yard line. There's an interception thrown and a guy coming out the end zone. And I look up and I see him running. I'm on the other side of the field. He's taking off. It's 90 yards between us. I get him before he gets to the end zone. Coach, I attribute that play to you. No way I was letting him go. Yeah. Another coach of mine who's here in this room, Coach Joe Galambos. He showed me what it means to be a pro way before I had the opportunity to be a professional. His wife, who's here as well, Mrs. Galambos. Hello there. She would record all the games, our games in high school. So each time we would play a game, and after the games, like, you know, win or lose, I was so excited to take that shower to get dressed and go to my coach's house, because me and him would sit down no matter where the party was at, what everybody else was doing. I know after every single game, me and Coach Joe would sit down and do film. We sat there, and in that time, I'm having crazy games, 400-yard games. I'm Randy Moss and people who don't even play receiver. I'm jumping over people, catching the ball in the end zone. And all those highlights and all those plays, that was never our focus. Each time we looked at that field, we were critical and seeing what was the hole in my game? Where on this film can we find where you can do better? Every step, every inch, that search for improvement never left. And thank you, Coach Joe. You showed me that. Illinois tradition, in and of itself, for me, is a win. Whether the teams are winning and losing, when I committed to this university and just even being here in this room, regardless of what our record is, just by the nature of who is here, you guys who's come to this university, to be honored among the likes of George Hallis, Dick Buckus, and Red Grange, the Galloping Ghost. Just being here, for me, is a win. I'm honored to receive this honor. And it took me a while to get here. Because in the face of everything that I've done, there's still someone or something that would say you're not enough.
You everything, baby.
But you're not enough.
Thank you so much.
Dog, I'm so good at so many things I couldn't even stand up here and tell you the issue. You can literally type in and look online. I've killed everything they put in front of me. It's my third year in the NFL. It's 2010. I'm our starting running back. I firmly established myself. We're going into this year, and we have a quarterback who's out for the first 6 weeks due to a decision that was made off the field. It was reduced down to 4 weeks after an appeal. In 4 games, without our starter, we said, what is the Steelers gonna do? How are they gonna? And in those 4 games, we were 1 first down away from being 4-0. We finished 3-1 in those 4 games. How did they do it? I'm leading the NFL in rushing yards and carries and everything. It didn't stop there in those 4 weeks. You finished the rest of that year. Our passing game was pretty good. Our running game was excellent. That's in the stats. Our running game was excellent. We go into the playoffs, and in order to decide this game, I'm face to face with the Baltimore Ravens defense, the best defense in the NFL besides our own. It's 3rd and 2, and we have to get in the end zone. And that gets done. They call my number, and that gets done. The AFC Championship, where after that game, Marquise Pouncey is quoted as saying, our running back, Rashard, he went out there, he did that, he handled that for us, and we needed that. Bless him, thank him. We go into the Super Bowl, which to this day, in my bones, was the greatest game I've ever played. Not in yards or stats or acclaim. I didn't take a single false step that entire day. Every single thing I did the week leading up to that, the month of that game, I gave everything. And at the end of it, there's a play where I'm sandwiched in the backfield and I lose the ball. And they said I wasn't enough. I remember after that play, running off the field, and you know, you make good plays, bad plays. And when I lost the ball in the Super Bowl, I'm running off the field and it felt like the entire stands, it was like everybody in the stadium, as the defense is running off, it was like everybody had knew or felt that I messed up. The funny thing is, the difference, it wasn't just that stadium and those stands. It felt like there was like 20 or 30 surrounding stadiums, not just that one, because that energy is real. And I'm like, oh wait, everybody's watching this on TV. This is the Super Bowl. Everybody here feeling like I messed up. I ran to the sideline and there was one person that came to me. My running backs coach, Kirby Wilson, the person that's supposed to come in. He looked me in the eyes, threw my face mask in my face and said, Rashard, was there anything you could have done on that play? Shook my head, said, no, coach. There's nothing I could have done. He said, I know. Tapped me on the head, slapped me on the ass, and I went and sat on the bench. There was nothing I could do. You take a lifetime of focus, of moments, dedication, and in sports, one moment where there's nothing I can do, and they say you're not enough. It's like my skin color. You're not enough. Today, when I was getting a tour of the Smith Center, I went into the locker room and I met one of the current players, Gabe, and I'm sorry to pronounce his name, but I'm not sure if it's Jakis or Jakis, defensive end, young guy on the rise. Something that I noticed is the way he stood there as I spoke. He listened to me when I spoke. Shortly after that, on a tour with Kevin, we went into the staff room where all the coaches were meeting, and they're preparing to beat Penn State. When I walked in, they all stood up when I entered the room. They stood up, they came to me, and they greeted me. A room full of working, professional men and women. Gabe listened when I spoke. They stood up when I entered, when I walked in. And just by being here, I knew I was enough. Josh, when you gave me that call, I was sitting in a spinning chair in my room, and I knew to expect a call from a 217 number, which is this university. And you said Hall of Fame. When you called me, I heard I was enough. I thank everyone in this room for being here, because it took me a while to accept this honor. Because at some point in my life, I had to look myself in the mirror and know that I was enough. So thank you guys for being alive, for being present. I thank this university for every single thing it's done to me, for me. And I vouch already to myself, to God, and to you here in this room, that I'll give every single thing that I can to this university for the rest of my life, because it was here that I knew I was enough. These buildings are so beautiful, architecturally stunning. But this school, this university, isn't these buildings, it isn't just these streets. It's the people in it. It's us. It's you guys in this chair. And so I just thank you for allowing me and countless others to know that we are enough. ILL.